You won't believe what happened on this train, or how one simple act of kindness was about to change 2 lives forever. Stick with me until the end of this story, because it's a powerful reminder that you never know who you're helping, and it might just restore your faith in people. If you're moved by stories of courage and compassion, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content that truly inspires. The 515 commuter train was a special kind of battlefield. Not with sand and IEDs, but with polished floors, harsh fluorescent lights, and a silent, simmering tension as weary passengers jostled for space. For Leo, a man whose posture was still too straight, whose eyes still scanned a room for exits, it was a different kind of exhausting. He held the hand of his 6-year-old daughter, Chloe, her small backpack adorned with a glittery unicorn, a stark contrast to the worn, olive-drab duffel bag slung over his shoulder. Life as a single dad was his new mission, and some days, it felt more daunting than any patrol he'd ever walked. They found 2 seats together, a small victory. Leo settled Chloe by the window, her nose immediately pressed against the glass, and he stowed his bag, feeling the familiar ache in his left knee, a permanent souvenir from his last tour. He was about to pull out the coloring book from his pocket when he saw her. A young woman, probably no older than 20, in a crisp, new-looking army dress uniform, was standing awkwardly in the aisle. Her face was a mask of strained composure, but Leo, trained to read people, saw the tremor in her clenched jaw, the bright sheen of unshed tears in her eyes. 3 loud, obnoxious men in suits were sprawled across the 4-seater bench opposite, their briefcases taking up the space meant for her. "Come on, sweetheart, it's just a seat," one of them sneered, not even looking at her. "We're tired. You soldiers are tough, right? You can stand." The others chuckled, a low, mean sound. The young soldier, her name tag read, Dawson, didn't reply. She just stood there, absorbing the humiliation, her gaze fixed on some distant point, a tactic Leo recognized all too well: retreat inward when you can't fight back. Something hot and fierce, something he'd tried to bury with civilian life, flared in his chest. This wasn't right. He saw the fresh-faced kid, probably on her way to her first assignment, being bullied by men who had no concept of sacrifice. He looked at Chloe, who was now watching the scene with wide, confused eyes. "Chloe, honey, stay right here for Daddy," he said, his voice calm but firm. He rose, his 6'2" frame unfolding, and walked the few steps to the young woman. He didn't even look at the men. He focused entirely on her. "Ma'am," he said, his voice low but clear, cutting through the train's rumble. "Please, take my seat." Soldier Dawson blinked, the composure cracking for a second. "Oh, no, sir, I couldn't." "It's fine." "It's not fine," Leo said, a gentleness in his eyes that belied his stern exterior. "You've earned that uniform. The least you deserve is a seat. Please." He gestured towards his spot next to Chloe. Hesitantly, she nodded, a single tear finally escaping and tracing a path down her cheek before she quickly wiped it away. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. As she sat down, Leo turned to face the 3 men. He didn't say a word. He just looked at them, his gaze flat and steady, the same look that had silenced hardened soldiers. The laughter died in their throats. They suddenly found the scenery outside incredibly interesting, shifting uncomfortably under his silent judgment. Leo then stood in the aisle, one hand resting on the luggage rack for balance, a silent guardian. The rest of the train ride passed in relative quiet. Leo noticed the young soldier, Amelia, as he now knew her, tentatively showing Chloe a shiny button on her uniform, making the little girl smile. He saw some of the tension leave Amelia's shoulders. It was enough. An hour later, the train screeched into the central station. As the doors hissed open, the 3 men scrambled out, eager to escape. Leo helped Chloe down and grabbed his bag. Amelia stood, straightening her jacket. "Sir," she said, her voice stronger now. "I can't thank you enough. That was more than just a seat. Just looking out for one of our own," Leo said with a small, tired smile. "Good luck, Soldier Dawson." He took Chloe's hand and melted into the rushing river of commuters, the incident already fading into the background noise of his challenging life. He had no idea that the security camera footage from the train car was already being pulled, that the men who had bullied her were being identified, or that the phone in Amelia's pocket had a text message thread with a contact saved as, "Dad." 2 days later, Leo was in his small, functional kitchen, helping Chloe pour cereal into a bowl when a firm, authoritative knock echoed through his apartment. His instincts went on high alert. He peered through the peephole and saw two men in impeccably tailored dress uniforms. One, a stern-faced colonel, stood slightly behind the other, an older man, his hair silvered at the temples, his shoulders broad, and his chest a tapestry of ribbons and medals. On his collar were the stars of a brigadier general. Leo's heart hammered against his ribs. What could the army want with him now? Had he messed up some paperwork? He opened the door, his body instinctively straightening. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice cautious. The general's sharp eyes took him in, from his worn-out sweatpants to the protective way he stood slightly in front of Chloe. Then, the general did something Leo never expected. His stern expression softened, and a profound respect filled his gaze. "Mr. Leo Maddox?" the general asked, his voice a deep, resonant baritone. "Yes, sir." The general extended his hand, and Leo shook it, feeling the strength and certainty in the man's grip. "I'm General John Dawson. This is my aide, Colonel Miller." Dawson. The name hit Leo like a physical blow. His mind flashed back to the name tag on the young soldier's uniform. General Dawson's eyes grew suspiciously bright. "I believe you met my daughter, Amelia, on the train 2 days ago." Leo could only nod, his throat suddenly tight. The general continued, his voice thick with an emotion so raw it was palpable. "Son, Amelia called me that night. She told me everything. About those men," he said the word with distilled contempt, "and about the veteran who stood up for her when no one else would. She said you gave her your seat, that you looked at her with respect when she felt completely invisible." He paused, collecting himself. "Mr. Maddox, my daughter is strong. She's a Dawson, through and through. But she's also new, and she was terrified. What you didn't just give her a seat. You gave her back her dignity. You reminded her why she put that uniform on in the first place. You showed her that the brotherhood, the respect, it's real. And for that," the general's voice broke, "as her father, I can never, ever thank you enough." Leo stood there, stunned. He looked from the general's emotional face to the colonel, who gave him a firm, approving nod. He felt a hand tug on his sweatpants and looked down to see Chloe, her mouth full of cereal, looking up at the soldiers with awe. "It was nothing, sir," Leo finally managed to say, his own voice rough. "It was the right thing to do. To you, it was nothing," the general countered. "To my family, it was everything." He reached into his breast pocket and pulled out a crisp, formal envelope. "This is a personal letter of commendation from me, to be placed in your permanent record. But more importantly," he said, his eyes shifting to Chloe and then back to Leo, "I heard you've been having some trouble. The VA is slow with your physical therapy for that knee, and you're looking for a more stable job with better hours for your little girl." Leo was speechless. How did he know? General Dawson allowed a small, knowing smile. "Let's just say I made a few calls. There's a position waiting for you as a facilities manager at the military academy, a stone's throw from here. Good pay, great benefits, and hours that mean you'll be home for dinner with this young lady every night. Consider it a small token of my gratitude." Tears welled in Leo's eyes, and he didn't try to stop them. This wasn't a handout, it was a hand up. It was a solution to problems that had been keeping him awake at night, a future for his daughter. It was hope. The story ends not with a grand parade, but with a quiet moment of profound change. Leo, the veteran who felt lost in his own country, found his purpose reaffirmed. Amelia, the soldier who was bullied, found the strength to stand taller because someone had stood for her. And a general, a man of immense power, used it not for strategy or war, but to personally thank a humble father for his simple, powerful decency. This, right here, is the real meaning of service. It doesn't always happen on a battlefield. Sometimes, it happens on a crowded train. It's a reminder that our smallest actions can create ripples that change lives. So the next time you see someone who needs a hand, remember Leo. Remember that you never know who you might be helping, or how that single moment of courage might come back to bless you in ways you never imagined. If this story touched your heart, do me a favor and hit that like button, and subscribe for more real-life tales of hope and humanity. Thanks for watching.